Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
So let's talk about TRID. TRID is something that came out October 3rd, right?
October 3rd was the launch date, but
it's just hitting us now.
Hitting us now. I had a meeting on the 9th with all the guys here, and I said, okay, I know it feels like nothing's happened. I go, it's going to happen in the next 10 days. And this last 5 or 6 days is really when we're starting to see, well, this escrow didn't do that, and that person didn't do this, and this person said they don't do it like that. And
they didn't understand it or whatever.
Yeah, we're just not all in unison yet. It's going to take a little while to get through it. What are you seeing, Nicole?
I haven't seen it happen yet. So it's really interesting to hear you say what's going on now that you're in the
Good,
end
we're
of the
hiding
escrow.
it well.
I would
The
love
shell game. You can't find where that nuts.
I think that you guys, I think the industry of the people that are seeing it happen, the lenders, the escrow people, really should maybe sit with the real estate agents and kind of share with us what's going on, because I think it can help us.
We haven't been able to till now. We've basically been waiting like you to see how it's going to affect us. At first it was nothing, but now we're going through our first closings with TRID. Just so you know, it's a new reform that we all had to change to, and we're just seeing how it affects us. But overall, it's not going to be the end of the world, but it's just some adjustments.
It's not too bad. So for example, the first thing we saw was how much longer it takes to get an appraisal. Right, so listing agents start calling, hey, I haven't heard from the appraiser yet. Well, yeah, I know. Your client hasn't signed the disclosures yet. Until the consumer has reviewed their disclosures and signed the disclosure and say, I accept these disclosures, I can't order the appraisal. So typically that's a 2 or 3 day delay compared to what we were in the past. So a small change, not the end of the world, but 2 or 3 days slower than the past, unless the consumer is very on it and signs them the day we send them to them.
So if they sign the disclosures on day 2 of the deal,
then we're good to go. We can order the appraisal right away.
And they have to do it within, 10 days? Is there a time frame that the appraisal has to be done, or no?
No,
not necessarily.
No, it's a potential delay. But you mentioned during the break, and if you just tune in, we're here with Nicole Stinson with Estate Real Estate Group, one of the premier real estate professionals out here. And you mentioned that one of the potential delays is all the paperwork not being completed at the beginning. You'd be surprised, and you're not surprised, how often contracts are not complete, information not complete, stuff isn't turned in a timely manner, very lackadaisical, which is not fair to the client or, of course, the lending company. And you admitted, we should have been doing that all along, right?
Yeah, all the agents are freaking out. TRID, really, for us, this is no different than it should have been all along. Mm-hmm. Not only should we be setting realistic expectations up with our clients, our sellers, our buyers, in the beginning of the deal.
I think that's
we should have been doing that to begin with, and making sure the contract is filled out and that it's filled out strategically. So look at it at a different way than just writing a contract. Look at it how the lender's going to see it. Look at it how the escrow is going to see it. Look at it. And so
funny story there. I received one maybe about 2 weeks ago, where on the last page of the contract, the seller initialed, and this was a e-signing mistake, but the seller initialed rejection of contract. And that's how it was sent to me. So I was like, this whole contract is invalid. It's been rejected by the seller. What are you sending me? And, okay, we'll fix that page.
They're not even, a lot of the agents, they just don't even, a lot of agents don't even know they probably haven't even read through a contract. I think it's important that we know what we're asking our clients to sign, and we understand what it means, for sure.
I agree. And you're the number one thing. I hope you're listening out there. And Nicole Stinson was very clear on this, and this is something we try to do really hard at Skyline, is setting proper expectations. Because once you know what the expectations are, you can be prepared accordingly. For example, how long are you doing your contracts right now during this TRID adjustment period?
I'm getting offers at 30, 35 days, and we're countering back at 45 days or sooner.
So you still have the option of closing sooner, but you're setting up the expectation that until we know how TRID is going to affect the transaction,
right?
I'm going to make sure that you're prepared for it maybe to be a little longer so that they're not stressed out and hiring moving vans too early.
That, and so we're not having to change the terms of the contract also, because I think that might trigger something.
It does trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's the thing. That's one of the things I hope the real estate community embraces is if you're going to change things, if you're going to do a request for repairs and you're going to ask for a seller's credit and things of that nature, do it quickly, because it will impact your closing date. And, I think If we look back now, not just to TRID, TRID's great because it's actually helping raise awareness about the delays, but as a lending industry, since 2007, since the meltdown, the amount of paperwork that we have to do relative to the amount of paperwork that was done 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's ridiculous to believe that we could do it in the same amount of time. We've had to staff up in order to be
2 to 1
compliant.
now.
And you're always the bad guy, you know,
Yeah.
the reason why.
Yeah. I love that Nicole just throws it out there.
Truth.
But it's true, though. We always get thrown in the bun. We're like, well, you didn't give us a contract for 3 or 4 days. After a week, and it was like we lost 7 days. And how do we properly prepare the client to close on time without pulling, rabbits out of our hat?
That's,
Well,
my,
like I
that's my
said,
favorite.
agents are just functioning on what it just seems to work. They don't really understand, I think, what actually has to happen. And
Yeah, I
I think
think that's one of
TRID
my-
kind of makes the structure for that.
Well,
Yeah.
you mentioned something. Sorry, Gino. I didn't
It's
mean
okay.
to cut you off. But I was just
You do
gonna-
that regularly. It's
Well, it goes both ways.
Consistent, at least.
I wanted to clarify that piece that you hit on the break, that now it's more important than ever that we all work together. We're talking to client, providing the paperwork in a timely manner, the real estate agent doing all their stuff in a timely manner and very thorough. The loan officer, the escrow company, everybody now has to kind of work together to make this happen.
I educate my buyer's agents too. So when I accept an offer, I'm also setting the expectation up with that agent of the offer we're accepting to make sure we're working together and making sure it's right.
So that brings up a good point, and I know that right now it's more imperative than ever, we're very local, right? I think we're a very local community. We like to work with people that are local. And I don't know if the real estate community is aware of what some of the TRID repercussions have been nationwide with big companies like credit unions and banks and those types of lenders, that they're issuing pre-approval letters without reviewing any documentation on the consumer at all whatsoever, because they don't want to take the risk of saying, hey, I won't issue a loan estimate without seeing your paperwork. So we've taken a different stance on that. We do things the way we always have. We make sure you're going to get your keys if you're getting pre-approved.
Can you imagine that? Just getting remember the pre-quals back in the day? It wasn't a real pre-approval. You just based on a phone conversation.
Exactly.
And then you get their tax returns, and you get their credit, and you get their information. So it's imperative that if you're going to go into escrow, isn't it nice to want to close, get the keys to your home, or be able to sell the home because you're buying another home? All those factors come into play, and it's nice when you work with true professionals who are going to make sure you're prepared. And you can get a hold of one of them right here, Nicole Stinson with State Real Estate Group. How can they get a hold of you, Nicole?
661-816-4234.
Say it again.
661-816-4234.
And your website?
NicoleStinson.com.
I knew it'd be pretty easy.
And I sleep with my phone under my pillow.
No doubt, you are always available. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about how to choose the right real estate professional. There are keys. We've already explained a few of them. And we're going to talk about a great event coming up that you should be part of. It's one of the biggest in all of Santa Cruz. When we come back to the Don Gino Real Estate and Finance Show.